and open this meeting of the Town of Sheffield Select Board for January 19th, 2021, and it's a little after 7. This meeting is being recorded. Thank you, Mitch and CTSB, for doing that. I want to introduce the Town Administrative Staff and Board of Selectmen that's on this call. In addition to myself, Renee Wood, we have Martin Mitzoff and our third Selectman, Bob Kilmer. We have our Town Administrator, Rhonda Lombard, sorry, Rhonda, and our Assistant to our Town Administrator, Jill Hughes. If you wish to record this meeting, you may do so. Just please let the chair know. Before we get started tonight, I would ask everyone to join in a moment of silence in remembrance of people we lost this week, and that would be Jim Boltram and his wife, Doreen Boltram. If we may have a moment of silence in their memory, and may they rest in peace. Thank you, everyone. Our first item tonight is approval of meeting minutes. Is there a motion on this?
This is Martin. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from January 4th, 2021, working meeting, from January 4th, 2021, regular meeting, from January 5th, the working meeting, and from January 13th, 2021, a working meeting.
Second.
Is there a second? Thank you, Bob. Any corrections or discussion? All right, let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. All right, our next item of business is the discussion possible action regarding the release of executive session minutes. And is there a motion on this? And then we'll take up discussion.
This is Martin. I'll make a motion that we approve the executive session minutes from April 28th, 2020, with Renee Wood, Nadine Hover, and Martin Mitzoff present as members of the Select Board. And I'll leave it at that because Bob's on the other one. I'll make another motion
Martin,
for that.
any discussion on this? Okay, let's do just a vote. It'll be just the two of us. Martin Mitzoff?
Aye.
Renee Wood, aye. Let's move on to the next one. Or the next one.
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the executive session minutes from August 3rd, 2020, all three of us being present.
Okay, what
I'll
we're doing
second.
is to release them. Okay, Bob seconded it. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Martin? Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. Let's go on to our next item. These minutes on executive session have been approved previously. They had just been held because the items that were discussed in those minutes had not been resolved and were done under executive session. They've now been resolved, and so they now can be released. All right, our next item is a discussion and possible action regarding fees for public records requests. I'm going to turn this over to Rhonda.
So we've been talking a lot about the amount of public records requests that this office and other offices here in the town hall have been getting. And we've been in consultation with our town council as well. And it would be my recommendation that the board charge for every piece of paper that goes out at 5 cents a copy, and 15-minute increments of the person who makes the least amount of money that can do the job, the research and the copying and the mailing out or recording for all public records requests.
Let's open this up to board discussion. Martin or Bob?
I'm fine with it.
I am also fine with it.
Martin?
Also fine with it.
Okay. Okay, so Rhonda, there's also the issue that if someone wants to come in and look at the records, all right,
Yes.
you were kind of just talking about as if they're being sent to a person. So can we also
Correct.
discuss what we might do with someone who comes in and wants to look at records?
Right. So anyone who wants to come in and look at records can be placed in one of the conference rooms, but will have to pay for the time for the person who sits with them while they go through the records.
And that would also be to
Sorry,
pull
Rhonda,
those
this is
records.
Martin. Also on the basis of the 15-minute increments at the lowest public wage rate?
Absolutely, yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're talking about, just let me get this in my mind straight, is anyone who wants to make a public records request has absolutely the right to do so. They are going to be charged for the time involved at the lowest paid person who can do the job and at 5 cents a copy. They are also, if they wish, and that would be in a case, plus the postage, or if they want to, plus the postage. So that would be if it would be mailed to them. If they want to peruse a series of records or such, they can do that by an appointment, the same way that you can do anything at Town Hall by appointment. But they will also be charged for getting those records put together, and they will be charged with someone being in the room or with them while they peruse those records, because these are town hall records, and we cannot run the risk of records disappearing. So, and that will be charged in 15-minute increments, 5 cents a copy. So have I got that right?
Yes.
Okay. Bob and Martin, are there any further comments?
Nope.
This is Martin, nothing for me.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion that I just made, all right? I know Jill got that down, so I'm just going to make that motion to not have to make the board go through it again.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Martin, roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. All right, thank you. And that will begin immediately. And Rob, am I correct that you will, or whomever is going to notify the person in advance of what the charge is going to be?
Yes.
Or is likely to be. And then once that check is received, then the work will be done, correct?
Correct. And that would be the same,
Okay.
Renee, if someone is requesting a flash drive or even with email, because it does take time to find the record and scan it and send it off to email. But the flash drive would also have a charge if they were looking for it that way.
Right, good. And many of our minutes, not all, but many of our minutes, particularly the select boards and the major boards commissions, are on our website. And if one doesn't have a computer, the library has computers that can be used, and they have a printer. So there's a number of ways to get to this besides having to make a records request. All right, number 4, appointment of highway superintendent. Rhonda, please, would you handle this?
I will. So after conducting interviews, the board has made a decision to offer the job to Jim Collingwood, and he has accepted. So I believe Jim's on the call. So congratulations, Jim, and welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard, Jim.
And just so everyone, yes, just so everyone knows, what will Jim's starting date be, we think?
February 16th, I believe.
Yes. Yep.
Good. You both agree
But
on that. Excellent.
But I will be in touch with Rhonda tomorrow and set up some training time and stuff prior to that.
That's great.
Okay.
It's also my
Thank you, Jim.
understanding that you've been talking with the working foreman almost on a daily basis to lend support and to try and gain some knowledge about what's been going on.
Yes, Chris and I have been
Excellent.
talking since last week, yes.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Looking forward to
it. Jim, we are looking forward to it also. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So our next item is an appointment announcement for the Housing Commission. And we do have a letter of interest from Adam Kersner. We have this in our packet. He lives obviously in Sheffield and would like to volunteer to serve on the Housing Commission. And this is the announcement. Adam will be appointed at our next select board meeting, which is the first part of February, actually February 1st. Next item is action regarding a firefighter appointment. Martin, I appreciate it if you would handle this, please.
Sure. So the select board and Rhonda have received a letter of recommendation for a gentleman by the name of Colby Blow to be appointed as a probationary member of the Sheffield Volunteer Fire Department. Colby also submitted a complete application package. And I note that Colby is the son of one of our current firefighters, Captain Tony Blow. So there's a letter from Dave Ulrich, the fire chief, as well as the complete submission package. I guess given COVID-19, I know we typically make announcements. Renee, what is your pleasure in terms of going ahead and voting on his appointment?
Well, the only thing I'm not sure of is, do we have the Corey check done?
Not yet. So if you would just approve it pending Corey check.
Okay, so that's what I think we should do, is approve this probationary appointment pending a successful Corey check.
Second.
So, I guess I just made the motion, I'm sorry. So you get to do the roll call vote, Martin. You're handling this.
Renee Wood.
Aye.
Bob Kilmer.
Aye.
Martin Mitzoff. Aye.
Wonderful. I think it's so terrific to see two generations in the volunteer fire department. And thank you very much for volunteering, Colby. This is great. All right. So our next item is discussion action regarding November 24th meeting minute revision. And in our packet, this was a set of minutes when the board was working together to go over the general bylaws. And it was brought to our attention that there was a discussion regarding workload that chairs have of committees. And we have in front of us a suggested revision to these minutes, which I believe have approved. So we'd be looking at approving a revision to these minutes as there's both the yellow highlight and then there's the paragraph below it. So what would the board like to do?
This is Martin. I'll make a motion that we approve the amended minutes from the Tuesday, November 24th meeting of the Select Board as written in our packet.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion among board members on this? All right, then let's do a roll call vote. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. We'll go right into an open meeting complaint that was generated by these minutes from Susan and Dr. Butler. In your packet, you have a draft response, and I don't know whether the board wishes to change this. We need to, of course, change. Oh, no, that's too bad. I guess the date is actually tomorrow that I put on this letter, so that's not bad. So I don't know whether the board wanted to make some changes to this. No pride of ownership here, or whether you wish to accept it as it is.
This is Martin. I would accept it as it is and would make a motion to that effect.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. regarding the open meeting complaint from the Butlers. This is the letter that will go back to the Butlers explaining what action we have taken, and it will also go to the Office of the Attorney General, the Open Meeting Division. All right, let's do a roll call vote if there's no further discussion. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. Okay. So our next item kind of also stems from the work that the board did on looking at recodifying our general bylaws, which haven't been recodified since 2001. That's now with our legal counsel for their final review, I hope. And in this, there were two items that came up that legal counsel in their initial review suggested really do belong in zoning bylaws because they're land use issues. We've left them in for the time being and would not recommend any changes until the planning board has had a chance to look at this and resolve it. But we did want to send a letter to Ken Smith, who's chair, who's on the call, and the planning board members. And these two areas deal with community residences, and the other one deals with signs, particularly non-accessory signs. The sign one was adopted in '75, so it hasn't had the benefit of all of the work that the planning board has done on signs, and the community residence was adopted in '82. So this letter is really more of a transmission letter, just to bring these two sections in their complete wording to the planning board's attention. What would the board like to do?
This is Martin. I recommend that we send this letter to Chairman Ken Smith of the Planning Board, as drafted with the today's date or tomorrow's date.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion, or Bob, do you have any changes you want to make to the draft letter?
No, it looks fine.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote if there's no further discussion. Martin?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Renee? Aye. All right, so our next item is a letter that basically a lot of towns received, particularly those in Berkshire Hills Regional School District and Southern Berkshire Regional School District. It is from the chair of the Regional School District Planning Board. This is kind of, I think of it as the consolidation group. It's easier for me to remember that way. But they are looking to get together. We've all had a chance to read this. We could schedule this as a separate meeting. We could schedule this like an hour before a planning board meeting. And then I myself, I don't particularly have a feeling as to when this gets scheduled, but I would like it to be scheduled in a way that residents, if they want to dial in on it, or if it's a Zoom meeting, whatever, can attend this meeting. So, Martin, Bob, what would you like to do? And Rhonda, if you've got some ideas, please chime in.
Bob, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. I really don't have any preference as to when, but I do agree that this should be open and a convenient time for others.
Okay.
And this is Martin. I just
Martin?
want to make sure that this is the board's understanding, but is the consolidation committee attempting to meet with each town in kind and its respective select boards and finance committees, or are they trying to schedule something for all of the 8 towns? the letter's not that clear. The second paragraph indicates, we're doing this,
Yes.
but are we coming back to them with the dates that work for Sheffield first and then see how it pans out?
I think at some point I do want to hear this, and I do know trying to coordinate select boards and finance committees from 8 towns is a nightmare.
Right.
So, I think if we could get somebody to be on this call with us, it'd be great. But if they have to, the way I read the letter, she's kind of proposing this, individually. I don't know if there's a problem.
Renee, if I may, I can give you the information.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Bonnie.
It's each of the towns
Just Bonnie, excuse me, just identify yourself first.
Bonnie Silver's 15 Hour Road, and I am on that planning board. Each of the towns is submitting through its select board and or finance committee dates that work for them. So we've already received dates from Egremont, New Marlborough, and I'm not sure where else, but it's up. The group that will come to you will be based on what is good for Sheffield. The ones we've heard from so far are doing it. They've picked regularly scheduled select board meetings. And it will be Lucy Prashker, most of the time, Peter Taylor, who is our vice chair, and then Lucy has encouraged members of the board to attend. Our board to attend. So, Martin, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Bonnie.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, Rhonda, just looking at our calendar, is our next select board meeting on the 1st?
It is.
Okay. And I somehow think that we have a meeting with the fire department at 6.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I think it's going to be hard to do it that day. So I'm wondering if we should look ahead to February 15th, if we don't have a holiday of some sort or another on that day. It'd be the 16th because the 15th is President's Day. I wonder if we should submit that date. What do you think, Board?
I would recommend we submit it. This is Martin.
Bob, are you
I'm fine with it. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, Bonnie, do you have a sense of how long this presentation will take? Is an hour sufficient? I hope.
Oh, yes. Honestly, what it is a presentation of where we are so far, and each town is going to be receiving a request in terms of this is what we need financially to move ahead, and it's sort of to get a pulse of whether the towns are on board with it, with the action of raising additional funds for moving ahead. So an hour, depending on the number of questions, should be fine.
Okay. I hope that they do not necessarily expect an answer that night.
I don't think they do. The way this subcommittee has been set up, it is to let the towns know the status, because initially this began as a town initiative, and it's sort of like, all right, after a year, let's give you the pulse of what's going on, and for the towns to give feedback to the planning group.
Great. Okay, so we got it. So thank you, Bonnie, very much. So we'll
Welcome.
that for Tuesday, the 16th at 6 p.m. We will see how many of our colleagues on the Finance Committee can be there, and we will also post it Bonnie, excuse me, one question. Do you know, are Lucy and Peter going to be conducting this meeting, or are they going to come on the phone with us? I don't know whether they're going to be doing a Zoom, whether we're going to them, or whether they're coming to us virtually.
As the initial plan was that it would be a Zoom that would be set up, but there was also discussion if towns want a physical safe distance presentation that could be done as well.
So, a board, are we Zoom with them setting it all up?
I do not, that far drilled down, I can't give you an answer.
Okay. I'm personally not going to meetings that can be done via Zoom. I'm trying to stay away from in-person meetings. I don't know where my colleagues are, but if we want to have the town residents be able to watch this or listen in, we're not doing it in person. That just isn't going to work.
And I think that's been the sense so far of what we've received, is that the option is for the preference is for virtual.
Okay, so, and we're going to leave this with them to set up. Are we good with that, board?
I am. This is Martin.
Yep.
What do you think, Bob? Okay, so
Yep,
we'll send a response back, but we're hoping if they want to show anything or such that we'll let them run the Zoom meeting. They'll get us the information. We will post it so that people can participate as they wish, and everybody can kind of hear the same thing. Okay? All right. I think we're good. Thank you, Bonnie, for your help. I appreciate it.
More than welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions for Bonnie before she leaves us on this topic, board members?
This is Martin. I'm good. Thank you, Bonnie.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. All righty. The next item is something I've been working on, and I have found a company, and I included in your packet a couple of items. The first item is a memo of understanding. They kind of have a sample customer, and then they have blue ribbon dry cleaners, so they kind of forgot under 4C to move that out. This is a company that I have also, Apparel Impact, that I have also taken 2 pages off of their, 3 pages off of their, I guess 2 pages off of their website, to kind of give you a little bit of a background on them. They currently have a textile box at Berkshire Board, what is it, Bike and Board. I called him. He's very happy with them. I looked at the box. It's in kind of an attractive dark green. He's had no trouble with them at all. The other place that's close by is Taft Farms. I was not able to get a call back from Taft Farms in time for this meeting, but as far as the person I spoke to, that she couldn't officially tell me, she said the place that it always looks neat. This is a company, if you've read the information provided, it's a New England company. They're expanding into Massachusetts. Their community support is strong. And on the third page, basically, we've talked about the extent of textiles in trash. It's about 10%. From what I have been able to see, and I thought I had included it, and I know I didn't, or Jill would have passed it along. They collect all the usable clothing, winter gear, purses, bags, scarves, shoes, flip-flops. All they really want it to be is dry, in wearable condition, and not have odor or mold. They pick up on a monthly basis. If they need to pick up more, they will, or they will put in another box. There is no charge for the box. They can place it at our schedule within 7 days after receiving a request. In contrast to some of the other people that I've talked to that I'm still working with to try and figure out delivery routes, This company does not pay us anything for the textiles. Some of the other companies do. My goal is to get this going. I would like the board to consider placing one of these boxes at the transfer station, and then to consider placing one of these boxes somewhere in town, on town property, so that those individuals who do not have their trash and recyclables go to the transfer station can also participate in textile recovery and reuse. If the board wants to, we have a sample MOU. If he doesn't require it, we want to sign it and put it together. He'll do it as per this. But so that's kind of it for me. I'm here to answer questions as your recycling coordinator.
Renee, this is Martin. Thank you very much for working on this. It is, the textiles are a pretty large component of the average household garbage delivery, if you will. A couple of questions. Is this a potential substitute for people that might otherwise take their clothing, their used clothing and so forth, to somewhere like Goodwill or a thrift shop, in the sense that the clothing that is in good condition will get reused again, hopefully by someone? That would be my hope.
I think this is, you take it where you would like.
Yeah.
I have heard conversation from people who use the swap shop, which of course we know is closed.
Right.
And they don't want to take things to Goodwill because they think they charge too much.
Okay.
So this is a convenience. Not everyone goes to Goodwill. Not everyone, sells their clothes. There's pretty good money in some good clothes that are being sold.
Sure.
This company also does a number of things like take clothing and use it to support people who, very similar to Goodwill, who are going for job interviews. They divert a certain amount of clothing. You can see in the community support that they said, and I'm taking them on their word, but I have to say, this is the one group that's ready to kind of get on with it rather
Sure.
than having to have everything, spread out with a pickup route. They have a military presence, and they divert textiles that can be reused and are in proper shape.
And
I don't think, to be honest, I don't think they take everything that if you go to Goodwill, like I take Dennis's T-shirts that are worn around the collar. I mean, they're clean. I don't know whether I'd consider that to be wearable condition, but I know Goodwill has a huge business that does rags, and T-shirts are great rags. So
Okay.
This is not a replacement for Goodwill. It's just for people who don't want to or don't want the inconvenience. Here's a bin. Use it if you wish.
Right. And then related, very, very technical question. Do we just, if we have these bins, do we just put the clothing in the bins, or do they have to be in a bag? Do they have to be sealed up? How does that work?
I can find that out, but my understanding is that, if somebody brings them in a bag, I've not heard that is any issue.
Okay.
But I will double check that.
Okay. Again,
And
thank you very
one of the
much.
things that I liked about him, I said, so if we start having more business, he goes, I don't want stuff sitting out in the rain. He made the comment he would bring another bin, or he would come and pick it up he would pick it up sooner. And he knows that our transfer station is open. He will not make a weekend pickup. Should have said that. He knows that our transfer station is open 2 days a week during regular hours, on Friday and Tuesday. So that would be the time that the goods in the bin would be picked up, and I would want to work with the transfer station and Rhonda, if this is approved, to find a spot that would, not be in the main flow of traffic.
Right.
Do they have any plans for stuff that isn't wearable? Do they have it? What is their backup or fallback position on things that they find that, because there's going to be some stuff that they're going to get that isn't of quality. Do they have a process for handling that?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can find out.
This is Ken Smith. Do we know if the other bins that are already around town, are they being filled?
I don't know. I tried calling a number of the companies that were listed, like the one at Restoration Auto, right across from Galata's. And for a long time, they were not doing any pickups at all, so they wouldn't talk to me. Then when I have talked with them afterwards, there's been issues about when they would be picked up, and I have just found it a little bit harder to deal with than I really had wanted to. So I got the name of these people and about three others from Renee Blanchard, who is our DEP or whatever coordinator. She has this, and so she gave me this. So I started just calling around, seeing what I could find out. I know I used to see, I believe there's one down at Greenwood Church. There's one at the auto place across from Galata. There's one over by Marshall's. I have seen bags sitting in front of the one at Marshall's. The others, I haven't seen bags, and so I don't know whether people are using them or not. I know that we do get credit in getting our annual money on recycling from the state for having a textile recycling bin. And I know that I probably get one or two inquiries a month from people who are saying, what am I supposed to do with my clothes? What's happening with the recycles? So I do think this is something that has value. I think there is a need for it in our community at our transfer station. If the board wants to start with just one at the transfer station, fine. But again, I would like to start with one that's someplace else so that people can take care of their recyclable clothing if they don't go to the transfer station.
This is Bob. I agree that we should have one at the transfer station. I'm kind of at a loss of where we would put a second one in town.
We could ask at the library. They would have to approve that. We could potentially put one at the senior center. We could potentially put one, I'm not sure if there's any room by town hall, but maybe there is in the back. I would think that the library or the senior center would be best because people can drive there. It's well lit. People go there quite a bit to both of those places, but that would need their approval.
This is Martin. I would make a motion that we authorize Renee to continue and complete a memorandum of understanding between the town of Sheffield and Apparel Impact for the provision to start off with one recycling bin at the transfer station, but open to options at other locations in Sheffield. Possibly the library, possibly the senior center, or other locations.
Maybe we evaluate it for 6 months.
Sure, with it to be reviewed after 3 months, I would say. We'll see how it goes at the transfer station.
Okay. And,
I'll second that.
Bob, I will get that question answered for you. Okay. How they process things that are non-wearable and what is their definition of non-wearable. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So we have a motion in a second.